Okay, good morning class. Today we're going to be learning about the zero bevel and how to sharpen it. The thing you need to know about a 0-degree bevel and why it's called a 0-degree bevel is because unlike a normal knife, which has a ricasso, a primary bevel, and right at the end here, if we zoom in, you'll see it has a secondary edge bevel. Now when you sharpen most knives, you sharpen just that secondary bevel. This is also applicable if your blade has a hollow grind. It also has that secondary bevel on the edge. But for our 0-degree bevel, we have a knife with or without a ricasso. These are all exaggerated proportions, mind you. We have a knife where the main part of the bevel here actually forms the cutting edge. So this primary bevel performs the function of the secondary bevel over here. And what I'm going to show you today is how to sharpen that the primary bevel on a 0-degree edge. So to give you an idea, imagine that's your sharpening stone. When you lie a standard blade on, you will lie the blade at an angle that indicates this section here that tells you what your degree is for sharpening. For your 0-degree bevel, you lie the blade flat. It's not very straight, but you lie the blade flat and you sharpen on the flat surface. So what you're doing is you're basically taking the stone and you're rubbing it across the flat surface, which re-hones the edge, which makes the blade sharp again. So I'm going to show you very quickly how to do that with some sharpening stones. Okay, so what I've got here is a knife with a 0-degree bevel on it and two stones, a medium fine stone and a very fine Arkansas stone. This is a nice one. This was retrieved from an antique shop. It's almost 100 years old, not very well used, but gee whiz, it does work, sure work a charm. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I sharpen my 0-degree bevel. Now we lie the blade flat. You can actually feel the surface of the bevel lying flat on the stone. Now you can do this one-handed or two-handed. If you do it two-handed, I recommend putting your fingers on top, not on the bevel. I learned the hard way the other day and I trimmed some skin off my finger. So if you want to do it this way, you can feel it sit nice and flat. And you can see it scuffs up. There's a little bit of a rust mark here you can see. It's actually it's a nicer representation of where the stone is making contact. And you don't want rust obviously, but for our purposes today it actually helps quite nicely. So we're going to go at it. Don't have to be subtle about it. This is an oil stone. I haven't added any oil to it because the bevel on this is already quite fine. Now I'm going to do it the way I do it, which is I do it in small circles. I find the small circles help me keep the bevel flat, and I can adjust it with each twist and each little circle. There you go, you can see it's working quite nicely. And even though I'm keeping it flat on the stone, I do apply pressure to the edge without actually lifting it off. You can see that I'm lifting it off. So always being careful not to cut yourself. Now this is a medium stone, so it's just re-honing the bevel. And I'll put it the other way. Find it. Now you can always tell when you're doing a good sharpen on a stone. It makes a shushing sound. And we'll keep doing that until we can feel a little burr along the edge. So I'm going to use the double-handed technique this time, just to get a little bit more pressure onto it, so I can get that burr up. Okay, now for those of you who are familiar with sharpening stones, like I mentioned a little while ago, this is an oil stone. So you would normally put some oil on this to lubricate the stone and also to increase the effectiveness of its sharpening. But I am doing this dry. It's entirely up to you if you want to do it dry or wet. It is better doing it wet with oil. Okay, so now I've got my little burr there I can feel on the edge. I'll move that stone out the way. I've got here a fine Arkansas soft stone, very, very smooth. Now this is a wet water stop. So this one is best soaked in water for a couple of minutes before you use it. But because I'm only doing a very quick hone on this blade, so this is the up and down method. Like I said, just because I'm doing a quick hone, I don't really need to spend a lot of time watering. Also the water does keep the stone clear, so this is not entirely beneficial. And then when you're finished and your burr is nearly gone, all you do is you take it to a piece of leather and you strop it. And once it's been stropped, it should be nice and sharp. Put my strop around here somewhere. Okay, so we can see it polishing the edge. It's polishing quite nicely there. I'm going to do my circle method now. I am pushing quite hard. It may look like I'm being soft, but I'm putting quite a lot of pressure. Again, the reason I do the circles is the quick motion helps me keep a constant feel for the bevel being flat. Okay, that's nice, I'm satisfied with that. Let me just find my strop quickly, which is obviously not easily on hand. Here we go. My strop is a piece of leather glued to a piece of wood. I've taken some buffing compound and I've rubbed it on here, which creates a micro abrasive surface. And I'm just going to put it on there like that. Now when you strop, you only go one direction. You can do it multiple times. It doesn't necessarily have to be one stroke, as long as you try and keep it even. Okay, here we go. Let's see if it's sharp. Yep, shaves. There you go, there's the hair. There you go. And that is how you sharpen a 0-degree bevel. Thank you very much for watching, and please subscribe and share this video. Cheers.